Hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do. So here on Let's Talk Ray Bradbury, I have been reviewing a collection of Ray Bradbury short stories, 100 of them in all. Today we are up to number 28 from the collection, The Stories of Ray Bradbury, and that tale is a very famous one called A Sound of Thunder from 1952. We'll start off with a brief synopsis, and then I'll wrap things up with just my thoughts and impressions of the story. I have read this story before, but it's been a lot of years, so it was fun to revisit it. So, the day after an election in which the good guy wins, defeating the sort of loudmouth wannabe dictator Blowhard, a man named Eccles goes into a office, and that office is the offices of Time Safari Incorporated. He's a big game hunter, and he's going to go back in time 59 million years to hunt a T-Rex with a group of other hunters. They wear ventilators to avoid adding their bacteria to the past. When they get there, they walk on a hovering path designed to prevent them from crushing anything on the ground. And they plan to kill a T-Rex, which has been previously scouted, so that the safari organizers know that this T-Rex is going to die momentarily later anyway and get hit by a falling tree. So they're covered in that respect by not affecting time. And that's really the big focus of the story. Travis, the safari guide, describes or tells them that it's very important that they follow the rules and don't interact in any way, even the smallest sort of way, with anything there in the past, because it could have ripple effects down the centuries, down the eons, affecting the present or their presence in unknown and sort of fathomable ways. So, the T-Rex shows up on schedule, but Eccles loses his nerve. He throws up. They tell him, go back down the path carefully, wait in the time machine, we'll be done without you. But along the way, he's so scared that he does walk off the path and gets mud on his shoes. Meanwhile, the others successfully kill their T-Rex. Moments after that, a tree falls on the T-Rex, confirming that, yes, in fact, the T-Rex would have died anyway. But they go back to the future. They get there, and as you were expecting, which is the whole point of the story, things have changed. Changes appear to be subtle. The first one is that the English language has changed subtly on the sign in the front office, although the man working the desk appears to be perfectly normal. But then they ask him a question. They ask him who won the election. And it's no longer the good guy. It's no longer the right guy. It's the wannabe dictator. And in fact, he is now president. So upset by this change, Travis, the tour guide, or the safari guide, he picks up his gun and shoots Eccles in the back, ending his future line and sending what possible ripples down the future centuries we will never know. So, I would say this is one of Bradbury's most famous stories, even if a lot of people don't realize that it's his story or this is the basis for the term the butterfly effect. In fact, I may have omitted the fact that in the mud on his boots, they also found a black butterfly. I'm sorry, I completely overlooked that. That's dumb of me. So he stepped on a butterfly and he's changed the future. And this concept has been adopted by sort of chaos theory proponents since its publication, although sort of the concept itself is a little bit older, a couple centuries older than Bradbury. But Bradbury is definitely the one who sort of brings this idea of probability and changing things with subtle differences in the past and how that affects with the way we end up in the present. It's very much Bradbury, but brought this concept sort of into sort of mainstream notoriety. This story was done as a film in 2005, critically panned. I remember seeing it, and I don't remember hating it, but I do think that it was pretty unmemorable. I don't think I've ever seen it again since then. But there's a more well-known, more popular film that came out a few years later, The Butterfly Effect, with what was his name? Ashton Kutcher, was it? I think. And that spawned several sequels. So, A Sound of Thunder is very much in the sort of the public sphere, I would say. Whether people realize it or not, they do know this story. And it's always been one of my favorite Ray Bradbury tales. It's such an intriguing concept. We've all thought about time travel. What would we do in the past? We've all also thought about, how would the world be differently if I was not here? Dark thoughts, but we've all had these sort of ideas. And but the main one is what would we do if we could go back and relive a moment and act differently? How would we? How would our lives be different if we'd done something better, or if we hadn't made a mistake? If we hadn't done some dumb little thing like stepping on a butterfly in a moment of terror, how would that affect not just our lives, but the lives of our family and friends and everyone else? So, A Sound of Thunder, 1952, one of the great stories of Ray Bradbury. I highly recommend it. If you're going to tune in next time, should be a few days, our story will be The Murder from 1953, so I hope you will join me. Thank you once again, and see ya.